one of my things right now is my students have recommended me listen to the other records that I haven't heard in a very long time, and it occurred to me that I'm meeting new people during this course of this intermission, this
Right.
1 year intermission. Uh, have you made any new friends with this being off for a year? And if you did you talk about music with them, or they want to ask you musical questions? These new people who you met?
That's a really interesting question. I mean, my default, and I think this is true with a lot of musicians, my default is that I'm very happy to go in a room by myself 10 or 12 hours a day, every day, and work on music. Just, I mean, I love that. I think anybody who has ever dealt with music at the general level we're talking about, regardless of what part, we all have to do that at some point in our lives. I mean,
Yep.
some more than others, but that's a kind of social context that we've all grown up in. So this period for me, after the kind of disassociation of like what's going on, what are we going to do, when are the next gigs going to be, which we still don't actually really know even
Oh
as we're
man.
talking right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, my first response was almost like, I just want to make sure everybody's cool, like the musicians that play with me, of course the people in my family. Just want to make sure everybody's safe. And I think that might be Parker barking, sorry if you heard
No,
that. But then my kind of impulse was kind of retreat in a way. I mean, I kind of stepped aside. And, like you, this is the biggest intermission period I've ever had
yeah.
since
Yeah.
junior high. You know,
Amazing. Yeah.
I'm reading a lot of books that have been sitting there waiting to get read. Love the book about the Detroit scene that Mark Stryker did. Books like that has been sitting there. It's like, so I'm doing a lot of that. I'm, always been really interested in science and brain stuff, and have kind of been hanging in the neuroscience world a little bit over these past few years. It's been a lot of that kind of stuff. A lot of kind of catching up with stuff,
Yeah, man.
like papers and boxes, like, oh yeah, okay, now's a good time to do that. So there's been a lot of that. And probably like a lot of musicians, I've done my 3 solo guitar ballad albums, in my bedroom playing body and soul or whatever. I got a feeling there's going to be a deluge of solo records by everybody from this period. We should probably put them all together as a big box set of the
Yeah.
pandemic,
Yeah.
solo records.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in terms of my social interaction, I have to admit, a couple of years ago, I got really sick on a vacation,
Hmm.
like sick like I have never been. This is before any of this stuff. And I was actually going to visit Nathan East,
Oh, wow.
our friend,
Sure.
in Fiji, because he has a place in Fiji. For years, he's like, "You guys got to come to Fiji." So we went to Fiji. In front of me, the whole flight was this lady coughing up a storm.
Oh, wow.
And sure enough, when we got to Fiji, I don't know what it was, but I was so sick. It was the first time I ever felt like, those stories you hear about tourists in some location that don't come back.
Yeah,
I
man.
mean, I
Yeah.
was really that sick. So I've been really kind of afraid of this thing. That really kind of put a fear in me, that after a life of pretty much fearlessness. So I've kind of really been laying low in that
Okay.
respect too, of not hanging too much.
Mhm.